We're going to be talking about maple syrup, pancakes, and how that applies to the drum set. I promise you, it'll all come together in a couple minutes. But first of all, I want to just take a second and say a heartfelt thank you to you guys for the support over the past 4 years. You have enabled me to have, hands down, the coolest job in the world and to make a living at it. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So to say thank you, everything on my website in the download store is 50% off. That's like lessons at like 60 cents, 67 cents. All my books, everything. That's not a gimmick, it's just thank you. Sincerely from the bottom of my heart. There's also a new download pack that goes into practical fills. It's got 20 practical fills. It's a 4-lesson series if you want to check that out. It's half off as well. Now, how does maple syrup and pancakes have to do with drumming? Well, you can use devices to help you learn. And maple syrup pancakes is just a mnemonic device. I could have just as easily said casserole or something like that. All it is a word that helps you remember a pattern. So in the other practical application fills that we have, the practical fills lessons that we have here on YouTube, you remember the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone. Then we had the bucket of fish. We had the backwards fill. Now the backwards fill was not a mnemonic device. But the bucket of fish, bucket of fish, bucket of fish, and the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, those are what's called mnemonic devices. A mnemonic device is anything that aids in the retention of learning. So anything that helps you remember. I guarantee you can hear Pat Boone, Debbie Boone one time and you will have that fill. And you'll be able to pull it out. Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, doon, it's not hard, but it works. These are fills that work, all right? Now, the mnemonic device we're going to be using with this is maple syrup pancakes. It's a real simple one. We're going to say maple syrup 3 times and then pancakes, and that's going to be our fill. All right, the maple syrup, let's mix up our maple syrup first. That's going to consist of snare, high tom, low tom, kick. Maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup. Pancakes going to be the floor tom and the snare together. Pancakes. To count that, it's 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 and maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, pancakes, and I guarantee you, you now have that fill. Because using that mnemonic device, you can remember it. It's like, okay, I remember that rhythm because it sounds like maple syrup pancakes, okay? So that's what we're gonna be doing. Let me demonstrate it for you. Now, this particular series, this is the 4th in the installment here on YouTube. This is fills that work. These are fills that are practical, that you could go into the studio. You could go on a high pressure, a pressure cooker gig, and they go, hey man, you got this new song. You go, okay, I know how to intro this song. I'll do maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, pancakes. And bam, you got your fill. Or, hey, I'm going to do Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, goon, Pat. So whenever you go into, there's been situations where I've been in here where they hand me a chart. Literally, you go into the studio, they hand you a chart, they say read it down once and then we're going to cut it. You can't sit there and do all of these huge Vinnie Colaiuta fills. You can't do that. You have to go Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, or maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, pancakes. You have to do something simple that you can remember that works over a span of several genres and several styles of music. And that's it. A simple, quick lesson. In and out. Maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup, pancakes, and that's a fill. Remember, everything's 50% off until December 1st at midnight. And that, again, is not a sales pitch. It's not anything. That's just me saying thank you. I mean, some of those lessons are like 60 cents. You know, I think I'm taking the hit on this one. And that's okay because I just simply want to say thank you. It's that time of year, especially for us in the U.S. It's Thanksgiving, and so I wanted to take a second and say sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me have absolutely hands down the coolest job in the world.